It's been over 10 years since the last Megaman Battle Network game was released, kinda hard to believe that. Growing up in the early 2000s, this series was everywhere. I think Capcom was trying to capitalize on that Pokemon craze. It even spawned its own anime series. Almost anyone who had a Game Boy Advance knew what these games were all about. And then suddenly, the series just died. We did get Mega Man Star Force after that, but it wasn't nearly as popular as Battle Network. After 6 mainline titles, I feel a lot of people at the time had enough of this series. Or have they? It is now 2020 and it doesn't seem Capcom has any interest in making a new Battle Network game anytime soon. That leads us to indie developers. We've seen countless indie devs create their own games based on what they grew up playing. Some of these developers want to make these passion projects just because they know big AAA companies no longer have interest in some of these IPs. Sometimes they'll even make a game better than what the bigger companies would put out. If Capcom isn't going to make a new Battle Network game, why not someone else? Look no further than One Step from Eden. To my knowledge, there hasn't been any attempt of any other studio or developers that wanted to try to make their own Battle Network style game. Please let me know if I'm wrong. I actually first saw this game back when it was released in March. I had no idea this was being created, but after watching the first trailer, I immediately wanted to pick it up on the eShop because it looked so similar to Mega Man Battle Network. Loading up the game, you are instantly taken into a battle, and after that another one, and after that another one. It was after that I learned that this was a roguelike type of game. I really should have looked more into what I was buying. That's not to say it was a bad thing, it's just not what I was expecting. Battles are fast paced, enemies can fill the screen with attacks and the game can just be relentless at times. The more you progress through each run, the harder it becomes. It may seem discouraging at first because you don't know what's going on, but once you take the time to learn the game, you won't want to put it down. It has that just one more run effect many roguelike games have, and just like many roguelike games, once you die, you start all over again.
You lose! Good day, sir!
Like Battle Network, matches take place on a grid split between your character and the enemy. You can move your character anywhere within the given area. Unlike Battle Network, the space you're given is much bigger, 4x4 instead of 3x3. When you start a playthrough, each character has a loadout of 4 spells. After every battle you win, you're given the option to pick one of 3 new spells to add to your deck. Getting skills, for the most part, is random, but you can increase the odds of getting a certain category of skills you want to build your deck based around. You do this in the menu between battles. You can also unlock passive buffs that will make the journey easier. These can range from granting you a shield at the start of battle to things that deal extra damage. After every boss fight in the game, you get the option to either spare them and have them join you, or kill them and earn extra money. If you choose to spare them, depending on the character, they'll offer a small assist during some battles, or even heal you along the journey. It's a neat feature that encourages multiple playthroughs. Unlike Battle Network, there is no menu that pauses the fight when you want to select the next spell. Battles will keep going until you win or lose. Spells work off of a mana gauge that recharges over time. This is why the game gets hard. You're constantly moving in battles with no real break until it's over. But because of this system, it's how the game gets its own identity. It's hard, but it creates this sense of urgency, making sure you're aware of what to do during battles. And defeating bosses feels very rewarding, especially the further you get into each run. You start off with one character and unlock more as you keep playing. Every character plays differently. They each have their own weapon, starting deck, and one exclusive ability. Some have you keep your distance from enemies, while others can be more up close and personal. The first character, Saffron, is a very safe character with a ton of HP, a standard rapid fire shot, and an ability that revives you once per run. Her default kit is really good and it makes it easy for newcomers to understand how to play the game. Once you start to unlock more characters, it's good to experiment with each of them to see who suits your playstyle. One of my favorite characters is Riva because her standard weapon can easily deflect almost any attack thrown at her, and her default kit makes it so that she can almost never die.
She's built like a steakhouse, but she handles like a bistro.
You're going to die a lot, but don't let that discourage you from playing the game. You'll learn more about the game the more you play it, from learning enemy patterns to knowing when to spend your money on items, or even knowing what spells synergize well with others. After every playthrough, you also earn experience points that go towards unlocking new spells, passives, characters, character loadouts, or even costumes for future playthroughs. The more you unlock, the easier it gets. Eventually, you'll have no trouble getting closer towards the end of the game. If I had to criticize the game, it would be for how vague some of the ending requirements are. I won't spoil anything here, but there are multiple endings in the game, and there isn't any real clear indication what you need to do in order to get some of these endings. Some are pretty straightforward, but other times I would make it to the last level only to die for some reason. The other problem I have with the game is these weird hiccups when there's too much going on the screen. The game would just stop for a good second and then resume as normal. I am playing on the Switch and maybe the system can't handle too much at once, but this only happened a handful of times and didn't really affect my enjoyment of the game, so it's not too big of a deal. If you've been craving a new Battle Network game, this is definitely the game to pick up. As of right now, you can get it on Steam or on Nintendo Switch's eShop. It's only $20 and there's a ton of replayability. I'm a bit over 15 hours into the game and I still have a lot more to see, like getting all the endings, beating the game with each character, and unlocking all spells and costumes. Wait, that looks familiar. Just don't be like me and know what you're getting yourself into. This isn't a grand RPG adventure where you're exploring brand new worlds or anything. It's just battle after battle, and at first I thought I wouldn't enjoy it, but the game just gets straight to the point. I loved going into every battle the further I got into the game just to see the new skills I acquired along the way. I've seen a lot of people compare this to Slay the Spire, but I can't really compare that because I've never played that game. Here's hoping Capcom makes a Battle Network Legacy Collection, maybe? Who knows? But in the end, this is just another reason why indie developers are just as important as AAA companies. Thank you Thomas Moon Kang for creating this game, and to everyone at Humble for publishing this title. That's gonna be it for this video, but let me know what you all think. Do you miss playing Megaman Battle Network? Thinking about picking this game up? Or if you did pick it up, what did you think about the game? If you enjoy watching these type of discussion videos, consider subscribing to the channel, liking this video, or even sharing it with anyone you think who would enjoy this type of game. Until next time, see ya!